listening to an audio book at the moment, and it quoted a statistic, and I understand that there are statistics and there are statistics. So, there's got to be some truth in there, but maybe not the whole truth. And you can make them say and tell the story you want them to tell. So, different issue. But it quoted and said 90% of people would prefer to be in a bad relationship than in no relationship. And I thought that number is disgustingly high. There's another study out of the University of Toronto. Mind you, the 90% was never identified as what study that came from or where it came from. But there's another study out of the University of Toronto that says 40% of people out of 153 that they interviewed fear of having no long-term relationship, or not being in a long-term relationship. They have a concern about being on their own. And again, I don't know, what age group these people were or ethnicity or anything like that. But so we've got a 90% figure and a 40% figure, and if the real number is somewhere in between even, and so we pick 60%, 60% of us would prefer to be in a bad relationship rather than no relationship. And hands up, I was one of them. I was willing to be in a bad relationship rather than end it for whatever other reasons there may have been. But that's a big, big figure. That's a daunting figure. So why do we choose that? What is it about being on your own? I mean, I'm sitting there of a night time, and I can understand that loneliness and not having someone there, and depending on your age bracket and social status and all sorts of things. But at 47 years of age, why am I fearing being on my own? What am I fearing being on my own? For me, it was, I always wanted to stay there, for the kids. I think it's better to have both parents there. And in another blog, I'll sort of change. I'll question that as well. But did I stay too long? But it wasn't, for me, it wasn't the fear of being on my own. It was not wanting to give up my family, because I knew the implications of ending the relationship meant me having to move out. And people can argue why was it you, why not, and purely stability for kids. And I guess I was the only one that had an income for about 19 of our 20 years since we met. So therefore I have the means to be able to do that and maintain the kids in the family home. Right, wrong or indifferent, that's the choice I made. So there's a whole reasoning around that, but I think people need to look at, we are a social animal. None of us live in a cave on a hill surrounded by forests with no one else around. We all live in cities, we all work in offices, we have interaction, we commute with people. Unless you're driving to work on your own, you have interaction with people pretty much most of the day. So we are a social animal, but is it to the detriment of the fear of being alone? There's a project that I was working on previously. There was a guy that his family lived in Sydney and he was down here in Canberra working. One Monday he didn't turn up for work, and Tuesday and Wednesday, and they finally found him and he died at home of a stroke or a heart attack or something. So, that's the extreme end. But for someone who, 47 years age, fit, healthy, social disposition, it's definitely not a fear, it's just a disappointment that I don't get to see my kids. And I've got no doubt down the track I will meet someone and things will change again. Wait for that to happen. So I just question, should we be putting up with bad things? Should we be drinking bad wine just because we can drink it? Is life not too short to see how good it could be and take the opportunities and make the choices? And I do believe that we always have a choice, that you may not like the choice you have, but you do have a choice. So for me, having this forced upon me, I now have choices that I need to make, and therefore I choose that I will be happy in my life. I choose that I will be moving forward. And now I'm out of a bad relationship. I'm no longer one of those statistics in that group. I'm a statistic in another group, determined to make the most of it.